Right, looks like I'm live, and I'll be waiting for Mike to join us. I may also send him the link. Hello everyone joining us. I don't know what time of the day is it in your part of the world. Hey, Rincon is sending a request as well. What's that? Let's see, let's wait for Mike. Here he is. Hello, Mike. Good morning. Just trying to. Okay. So I'm waiting for your request. Hello, everyone. Good morning for those joining from Kazakhstan or this part of the world, and good evening for those on the other side of the ocean. Mike, I think you need to press a button like send a request to participate in live or something like that. Can I actually invite? Okay, I'm waiting. I don't see it yet for some reason. Ah, here it is. Sorry. Hey.
Bam! Hashtag hot sauce interpreters. All right.
Great. Okay.
How you doing?
I'm good. It's 8 a.m. Yeah, so
yes,
very similar to
10 p.m. right here in Montreal.
Right. Good evening then to you. Thank you for agreeing for this talk.
Awesome.
And
thank you for having me on.
yeah, that's very interesting. That's great what technologies do nowadays, that we can have these talks from different parts of the world.
Exactly. I just saw one of my friends. Hey, Mary, how you doing? She's on. All right, cool.
Right, yeah.
I see a few people I recognize here. I had word around that we were going to be doing this tonight. So yeah, it's my pleasure to be with you tonight. So go ahead.
Yeah.
The show is yours.
Yeah, thank you. So it will be a sort of small interview today with you. So my questions that I prepared to you will be more related to sort of comparing practices, because I'm also a practicing interpreter, and I'll just asking questions like how you do it there, and I will compare to how we do it here. But maybe some of the listeners, some of the followers will ask some other questions, and we'll try to also answer their questions as we go. So for some of your friends maybe or your followers, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Gauhar. This is how we pronounce it. I don't know. Gauhar.
Gauhar. Okay.
Yeah, Gauhar. Yeah, Gauhar. So initially the name has Arabic roots, and it means like a pearl or a diamond, a pearl. There are different meanings.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And I'm a Russian English interpreter from Kazakhstan. I don't know if you know anything about Kazakhstan, but Kazakhstan is a former Soviet Union country. That's why we do speak Russian here, as well as a second language, which is Kazakh, which is actually the first language. And it's a completely different language. So it's from a group of Turkic languages. So it's similar to Turkish language. There are some similar words. Wow. So it's completely different from Russian. So it's two completely different languages. And I'm doing interpreting for almost 10 years now. I started working in international projects and then moved to freelance. And now I do freelance mostly. So that's my story.
Wow.
And Yeah, and geographically, you may not know, Kazakhstan is located in Central Asia. So we have like the biggest border, which is on top of us, like to the north is Russia, obviously. And to the east, we have China. On the west is Caspian Sea, and we have all these countries bordering Caspian Sea. And to the south, we have Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, also Central Asian countries. And it's the ninth biggest country in the world by the territory. You may have not known, but yeah, we have quite a big territory. So after obviously Russia, Canada, Australia, Brazil, India, and few more countries, the next is Kazakhstan.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah,
one of the biggest territories, but a very small population, 18 million only.
Wow.
So that's the story about Kazakhstan. And as we are a developing country, and we also are lucky to have a lot of mineral resources, especially oil and gas. We have a lot of international organizations here, foreign companies here. International organizations work more as donors, developing different projects. Our government is also quite, let's say, internationally oriented. So we follow all of the best international practices, and we invite a lot of experts, and that's why there is a lot of work for interpreters. So we are lucky and happy in these terms. So my first question, thank you for sending me your story. So it's nice to have some information in advance, but just for those who will be watching, tell me your short story, how you came to interpreting.
Well, short story. Okay.
Are you doing this?
Yeah. So the short story, I tell it every once in a while. So the short story is, I'm a Christian who born into a Catholic home, and my mother started going to a Christian church, and we would have here in Quebec, which is mainly French speaking. Our official bilingual languages are French and English.
Yeah.
But so at church, we would receive American preachers to come to preach to a French church, and they would need to put a consecutive interpreter on stage with the speaker. So I had seen consecutive interpreting, and this one particular weekend, this poor interpreter was on the stage, and he was having a really hard time because the preacher was speaking so fast, and he wasn't able to get the message across. And the preacher kind of felt that it wasn't going, so he kind of started to insult the interpreter. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. I feel so bad for the interpreter. I was having pity of the interpreter. And I said to myself, I think I can do that, because being bilingual, going to English school, but speaking French at home, I said, I think I can do that. So I offered myself as a volunteer interpreter in the church, like a lot of people do volunteer all kinds of services in church. And so the next time another American preacher came around, well, the head interpreter at the church said, Mike, it's your turn, go up there. I had never done this before. Never seen
oh my God.
Besides seeing an interpreter in church, I didn't know that interpreting existed. I didn't know that it was a career, a profession. I had no linguistic skills whatsoever. I was just a bilingual kid with a fast talking tongue, and I was thrown up there in front of 800 to 1,000.
I've lost Mike for some time. What's wrong? Mike? Oops. We lost Mike. Let's wait for him. He'll probably rejoin.
Okay, yeah. There we go. Okay, we're back on track. All right. So, so this preacher comes to the platform, and I'm called to the platform, and I interpret, basically sentence per sentence, basically, consecutive, simultaneous, we would say, because I wasn't going much more than a sentence or two. And I was standing like a piece of wood in the corner interpreting for this preacher. He was dynamic. He was moving around. He was jumping. He turns around and he looks at me. He says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm interpreting." He says, No. He says, "If I jump, you jump. If I scream, you scream. If I laugh, you laugh." So I said, "Okay, this is an acting thing." So I acted out everything that the preacher acted. His tone, his actions, and whatever he did, I did as passionately as he did. So that was the beginning of my consecutive interpreting, exposure to interpretation. And from that very point on, I realized it was a gift. I like to talk to some of the other hot sauce interpreters, and I tell them, like Robin, rock star interpreter, we say that they have a chip in the brain. And I guess I just had the chip to become an interpreter. I was like predestined to do it, and it kind of caught on very easily for me. So I was doing for a very long time consecutive, simultaneous, doing 2-3 sentences, because in a church there's no equipment, there was no besides being on stage in front of everybody, that was basically the only way we knew how to do it. So, so later on, I kind of understood that I was predisposed to being pretty good at it, because my mother, she was a deaf, she couldn't hear. And unfortunately, I don't know sign language, but my mother used to speak and understand reading the lips.
Reading lips, so,
since a very young age, I was always talking very, with my mouth, and making sure that my mother would understand me, and talking very loud, and being very, flamboyant and expressing, and talking with the hands, and, that thing. So I learned later on that phenomenon of the child interpreter. So I guess I was exposed to being a child interpreter for my mother, because my mother didn't understand English, and I went to English school, living in an English province at that time, having to interpret for my mother back and forth between the teachers, between the landlord, between the the corner store salesperson, at the supermarket. So I was, from a very young age, always interpreting for my mother. So I guess that I think that predisposed me to always have that thinking mentality of always interpreting in my mind. So basically, that's how it was. Yeah.
Right. And how old were you when you started this consecutive in the church?
This was about 22 years ago.
22 years ago, right. So that was one of the questions. So another question, actually, which I also wanted to ask you, and this comes from Barbara Loves. Sorry if I pronounce it improperly. Do you consider interpreting a gift or a technique that can be learned?
Well, listen, for myself, I noticed some people are saying that my sound is very bad. I don't know if there's a way that I can change that. I'll try to bring down my sound.
Yeah, I also can hear it a little bit.
I brought down my sound. Is that better? I hear like an echo, right? Yeah. Okay.
I think it's better. It's better now.
So I believe that a big part of it is it's a gift. I think that you can be a very good linguist, you can be a very good interpreter or translator, and sometimes you can't necessarily be both, although many interpreters are excellent translators, right? But I think to definitely be an interpreter, that it's something you have to have something innate in you. It's a gift. I believe it is a gift. I believe there is something that comes naturally, and often young interpreters ask me, "How do you know if you can be a good interpreter?" Well, what I tell them is, if you can shadow the radio or the TV in your mother tongue without skipping a beat, being one word behind, and you can do 10, 15, 20 minutes of this without missing parts of the phrase, you may end up being a good interpreter because you can follow. Now, if you can do that in your B language, in my case being French, then and doing shadowing off the TV or the radio. Once again, if you can do that in both of your major languages without any difficulty, there's a good chance that you're going to end up being a good interpreter. But if you can't even do a shadow, it's highly unlikely that you'll manage being an interpreter. So I don't know if that answers part of the question.
Yeah, I think so. So I'll also tell that I told you what we have in common, like similar to you. I also don't have a linguistics degree or any like translation studies or anything related. Actually, my bachelor's degree is in countryside and environmental management, and I did it in England. This is where I improved my English, my language. And my second degree, master's degree, is in public administration, which is also not related to linguistics. But I came to it from practice, starting working in international projects. I had to do a lot of interpreting, translation, consecutive, first of all, in the project. And I was sort of trying to save project budgets on interpreters, not paying interpreters and interpreting myself. I thought that was a good thing. I don't think so now, but still.
Yeah.
And and this is how I started. And then some of my friends and some of the interpreters who I actually invited to the project as interpreters told me that I'm actually doing well and I should try interpreting. And this is how I started. And yes, I do believe that you don't need a degree, although I don't sort of encourage people to do that. Yeah. But I believe that you can become a good interpreter even without a special degree, even without a special study.
Definitely, because I know quite a few interpreters that have gone through that, if I want to call it that way, the back door, coming in through, not the linguistic side, but so there's a good possibility that, you don't have to necessarily go through the linguistic route to be a successful interpreter. So, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, actually, in our market, we probably have around 40% of interpreters who came from other fields rather than linguistics. So that's interesting. Yeah. And do you work as a freelance interpreter as well, or do you partner with some agencies, or how do you?
Yeah, I do. I started off freelancing actually, and then through another interpreter who was working professionally with an agency, invited me in through the back door without any credentials whatsoever. He said, "Listen," he said, "this agency needs an interpreter, and I think you'll do the job." So, because I was referred by another good interpreter, the agency accepted me, no questions asked. They just sent me in the booth, and it started from there, basically. So I do work with agencies. I do have some of my my own clients. Both.
Yeah, okay. And do you remember your first simultaneous experience, like proper in the booth? Like you said, that's probably when one of your friends invited you.
Yes, I do remember that. Well, I remember in the booth. Yes, it was a multi-marketing type of assignment. Sales and encouragement, motivation, sales of products, and how to sell things, and that type of assignment. So that was very exciting for me, because in those types of environments, it's very often they're motivators. They're there to motivate salespeople. And coming from the background of preachers, being very motivating, fast-talking, energetic, Tony Robbins type of, speakers, right? So that was my background. So for me, it was very natural to flow into that type of simultaneous interpreting. And the gift of being able to talk fast also really helped, and think fast was a great help in the booth. Yeah.
Yeah. So what other skills you think are important to be a good interpreter, especially simultaneous interpreter? So thinking fast, speaking fast, what else?
Well, I think it helps, but I realized through the years, I say fast talking, it does help to be very fast and on your tippy toes, as we would say, the expression, to be very quick to think, swift to think up, word combinations that will fit in, right? So that really does help. It does help to start off being bilingual. It's not a necessity. I know many people have learned a second and a third language a long time after after school years, grade school years. So you have to love to read. You have to love, you have to be curious. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be humble enough that sometimes you'll be corrected by your booth partner, and welcome correction and learn from it. Because if you can't be humble and you can't laugh a bit at yourself for the mistakes you make, you're going to find it very hard, because in the beginning you will be scrutinized, you will be pointed, and you will be told, no, that's not good, don't do that. And if you have a hard time receiving correction, it's going to be a steep hill to climb, right? So you have to be humble, teachable, be humble, be kind. In the booth, I think it's very important to be humble, to be kind with your boothmate. These people, they're your partner. They could be your mentor. They could be somebody you respect, or they could be somebody you don't respect, but you still have to work with them, right?
Yeah, you have to work with them, yeah.
So, the dynamic, the synergy between the two booth partners will come out in the rendition, right? You may even feel the tension between both interpreters. You don't want that. You want it to flow naturally.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have your favorite partners, the ones you prefer being in the booth with?
I do. I like working with different partners. I've had many different partners, but I do have a certain preference for certain people on certain assignments. I have certain booth partners that I like to have with me during the motivational type conferences, because I know that they're dynamic people. And there's other assignments where I want to have somebody who's more politically inclined, more different subject matter specialties. So I do pick my partners when the agent will ask me who I want to work with. I'll ask them obviously what type of assignment it is, and I'll choose my partner accordingly. And when I work my own assignments, where my private clients, where I know what type of interpreter they like, well, I'll choose a partner accordingly as well. So yes, I do have favorite ones, yeah. And I do have my least favorite ones as well.
Okay, yeah, we all do. That's true. Yeah, it's very similar to what we do here as well. So there is one question. So they say, yes, it is a gift, and then practice makes the rest. That's true. You've got to love interpreting, yeah. And with the recent, with the events suspended for now, how has the interpreting market changed for you guys and remote interpreting? Yeah, let's talk a little bit about remote interpreting.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good one, especially now. I have been, obviously, all my, the conferences have been canceled. So everything has went remote. I must admit that since the beginning of the year, since January, I've probably only had about maybe a dozen or so assignments, all of them remote on different platforms. I jumped on the bandwagon of remote very hesitantly. I was very afraid of it. I wasn't sure that it was going to be successful. I hadn't heard very much about it until basically the beginning of this year. I knew about it, but I didn't know that it could be so successful until I tried different platforms. I was invited to use different platforms, or my clients used certain platforms. And quite honestly, I do have some favorite platforms. I have some platforms that would be down the list. But honestly, I haven't had a very bad experience, besides connectivity, let's say like before, a few minutes ago, the internet cut down and, communication was lost, or something, my booth mates switching wasn't working. So, there was little issues. But besides that, honestly, if the sound is good, if the video is good, if I've had material in advance, or we have a PowerPoint presentation, honestly, I can't complain. I like the RSI, and I like the fact that we can work from home. And I find that in the RSI, I've been asked more frequently who I want to work with as a booth partner.
Right.
So I get to choose my partners more frequently since we're working remotely. So I like it. Honestly, I do. I don't think it's going to be the end of all things. I think that the market will come back to in-person conferences and being in the booth, but it's definitely, we're going to see more of it in the months and years to come. Definitely, I think.
Yeah,
so.
now people will get used to it, and even when we'll have an opportunity to have in-person ones, yeah, they may continue. Yeah, I had one project that started like a year ago, and they started using Interprify, just because the project is for the 5 Caspian countries, Caspian region countries, and they couldn't meet like every week just to fly over to Kazakhstan just to have a meeting. That's why they started. And that was a great experience, because now when everyone started looking for different RSI options, we were already sort of into it. So we continue this project, and I have a couple more using just Zoom and some speakers and other platforms, but not many so far. Maybe the clients are also a little bit hesitant, a little bit afraid of these platforms as well. So I cannot say that it completely replaced, and I don't have the same amount of orders, but at least something. So what do you miss the most about the actual like in-person event?
I like, I like dressing up, wearing a shirt and tie, and going to the assignment, the prestige of being in the booth, the prestige of being an interpreter, and you walk in with a little interpreter bag and everybody's, I admit that I like that part. I like the food, I like the coffee, the coffee break. But what I miss the most, I find, is the adrenaline of the booth, the excitement of the booth, the nervousness that you have before an assignment. Am I going to be adequate enough for this assignment? Am I going to be good enough? Am I going to, is my booth partner going to be better than me, or is he going to be worse than me? Those type of things. So I like to travel as well. So I haven't traveled that much. I've been, obviously in parts of Canada. I've been in parts of the United States. I've been to the Caribbean sometimes. So travel is definitely something that is very nice about being an interpreter and going in the booth. So I do kind of miss that. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Every day we're sort of undergoing some sort of test, like whether I'll be good enough or not. That's true. Do you do, as we call it, solo interpreting, when you do it yourself without a partner? And for how long can you go? How long can you go without a partner?
That's a touchy question. I'll explain, because I do solo. Most of the time, solo jobs are, they'll last for an hour, maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
But I do have some of my personal clients that I do want to keep personal, right? I mean, they're very good clients, but as well, I don't mind doing them alone, because the material, the content, is not very cognitively difficult. It's very easy. So it's quite common that I'll do my own gigs, my own assignments for a whole day. I've even done some of those for a whole weekend conference, like those type of motivational conference, only because the content, I master the content. I would not accept doing a solo gig for, anything that would be very difficult, very cognitively overload. I would not accept to do those type of assignments. So, but I do work solo. I don't mind working solo if I believe that the content, I'll be able to manage the content by myself. Yeah.
Right. And there are a lot of discussions about the actual damage that such solo interpreting can do to your brain or whatever, like some health impacts. Do you believe in them, or what do you think about
it? What I mean by damage, let's qualify that, is that I definitely do feel that at the end of a day of interpreting solo, I'll feel the the fogginess, fog. I'll actually feel quite tired at the end of a day. I'll fall into bed and I can fall asleep right away. Because it is very demanding. Besides the fogginess, I haven't, a fatigue, the physical fatigue, the focus, being always focused. I can't say that I've been doing it for 20 years or so, And besides that, I haven't felt anything worse than that. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend working solo in anything that would be like an overload, right? So you have to pick and choose, right? You have to be wise. You have to know your own capacities. And there's definitely some types of assignments that I would never do alone. So that being said, there is a physical aspect to it. You do get the physical symptoms that we hear about, but I haven't lived anything quite. I've heard of the stories of interpreters fainting. I've never had that. I've never fallen into anything like that. So. Give and take a bit of what's being said. I don't think it's that bad, but obviously I wouldn't recommend it every day.
Okay. And how busy is usually your schedule? And do you sort of plan your schedule? For example, if you know that you will have a very busy week, then next week you may have like a free week or
well, for me, I'm doing this freelance, and because I only do interpreting, I don't do translation. It takes up, I would say, about half my year, half my salary, what I say. Half of it would be interpreting, and the other half of it is my personal business that I take care of, which is not related to any linguistics whatsoever. I do choose interpreting over my other streams of income. I call them streams of income. So I pick interpreting. I will prioritize an interpretation assignment over all my other clients, and I'll accept those almost all the time, unless, honestly, today I refused an assignment because I thought that the rate was much too low. So obviously I'll accept to a certain point, but if I'm going to make more money on my other job, well, then I'm going to do the other job.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you agree on some average rates with other interpreters, so that sort of to keep the level, there wouldn't be damping?
Pardon, repeat that.
Do you agree on the rates with other interpreters?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So I mean,
so
not all the time.
Standard average rate for the tasks? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I don't know who my booth partner is. So I'll give you an example. I did recently at the beginning of the year. We did an RSI assignment. I was here in Canada, and my booth partner was somewhere in Europe. I believe he was in France. And I only knew that I was going to have a booth partner, but I did not know who. I had never worked with that person before. So obviously we had not discussed before the assignment. But during the assignment, we were texting each other on another platform, and we got to know each other during the breaks and stuff like that. And we were discussing, and I had not even thought about this. We ended up talking about our rates, and we were both floored to find out that my rate was twice his. And he was making half what I was making. So I realized that sometimes the platforms, maybe at the beginning of the year, the platforms work against us sometimes. I think that they play with the rates from country to country. But I think I'm seeing more and more that it's stabilizing. So when I do have the opportunity to chat with, I'll say that today I accepted an assignment, and I knew who my booth partner was going to be because we were friends and we chose each other to work together. And we did discuss it. We said, oh, well, I'm ready to do it at this rate. What do you think? So we did discuss. And I think it's okay. I think that, to find out, to gauge yourself, sometimes young interpreters, especially, they don't know how much,
Yeah, so it's hard to.
Somebody needs to tell you what the average rate is, right? So you need to start somewhere. And after all these years, I still do it. Hey, how much are you making on this? What do you think is right? And we discuss, well, I think we should go higher or lower. And so, yeah, I discuss with when I do have the opportunity to.
Yeah, we do the same, actually. Yeah. And do you sometimes do consecutive with a partner as well, like you take it in turns, or consecutive is always alone? on your own?
The assignments that I have done that have been real consecutive, if I can call it that way, were usually like, maximum 2-3 hours. And it's not a very cognitive overload type of assignment. To this day, I've always done those type of assignments by myself. So I do have some consecutive clients that, once or twice a year will ask me to do a 2-year meeting. Oftentimes it will be the president speaking to his employees, and the president he's an American, and he owns a company here in Quebec, and all the employees are French speaking. So that's the type of consecutive that I've done the most often.
Mm-hmm. Do you have more of that type of like private clients, or do you work more with international organizations or some governmental organizations?
No, actually, most of the time, my clients are agencies, different agencies, and I don't pick the assignment. Or, obviously I look at what the assignment is, what the assignment entails. If I think that I can handle it, I'll accept it, or I'll also accept the challenge. Like, sometimes I'll receive a request, I've never done that before, but I think I can do that. So I'll accept the challenge, and so I like that type of request as well. But I would say that most of the time I'm working through agencies, especially now with the RSI. Most of them this year, of the 10-15 that I've done this year, there's maybe 2 of them that were my clients. They came to me directly.
Right.
But most of them through an agency right now.
And what is the arrangement with the agencies? Do they keep like 20-30% margin? What is the usual?
I have no idea what their margins are. None. I just know that the average rate going into an RSI varies. They're asking the hourly. Some are asking a half-day rate, a full-day rate. So you have to be ready to give an answer to an hourly rate, a half-day rate, and a full-day rate. And you have to be able to give them an answer if you're going to be working solo or with a partner. So you have to have those prices in mind.
Right,
Generally for me as a freelancer, the rates are pretty similar as being in the booth. So I've seen that tendency. So it's pretty good, honestly, for here in North America anyways.
Okay. So what is the usual switching time? Like for how long you go? Like 20 minutes, 30 minutes with your partner?
It depends. I'll discuss with our partner beforehand. I like to do 20 minutes to 30 minutes. 30 minutes maximum. 20 minutes, depending again on, if it's a panel of discussion, let's say, often panel discussions will last about 10-15 minutes. So sometimes we'll change when there's a change of speaker. So that can be 15 minutes, 10 minutes. We'll change to keep it dynamic, going back and forth between the interpreters. Other times, we'll just do a fixed 20 minutes. 20 minutes, 40 minutes at the hour, and we just change at those times of the clock.
Yeah, we also usually do 20 minutes in the majority of times. But sometimes 30 minutes gives you more time to sort of have more rest when it's not your turn. Yeah, that's because 20 minutes is not usually enough. While like you go to the restroom, you have your coffee, and then it's already your turn. But 30 minutes gives you more time. Yeah, that's true. What else I wanted to ask? Do you have favorite topics?
Well, my favorite topic, obviously, coming from a preacher, I am a preacher myself. I do speak at conferences myself as a speaker. So my favorite subject, obviously, is the gospel, is the Bible. That's my background as a pastor and as a preacher. But I do like everything that has to do with sales. I like everything that's dynamic, very fast-paced, energetic type of meetings. So obviously those are motivational speakers. Those are my favorite. Sales pitch people who work in sales are usually very dynamic speaking. That's what I call my comfort zone. I like doing general topics, general discussions. I'm doing an assignment that's going to be talking about different platforms, social media platforms, current affairs. Yeah, a bit of everything basically, but I don't touch my least favorite, or that I would not touch. I don't touch medical. I don't touch legal. I choose not to do those topics because I don't feel adequate enough to do those. Although I have done depositions, you know, a few hours of deposition, but that's about as far as I would go into legal and medical at this point, anyhow, with no training on those subjects.
Right. And you mentioned that when you started, the preacher who told you that you have to pick up emotions, you have to completely copy everything. So do you believe this strategy in all types of events? So do you actually copy the emotions from every speaker, or sometimes?
Definitely. Listen, I think that this, I know that this is a discussion among interpreters where we're supposed to be, you know, there's two schools of thought, right? It's rather you be like monotone, or to be like, you know, follow the tone. I definitely follow the tone, and I believe as well that people who are listening prefer that. I don't want my listeners to fall asleep, you know. I want them to be engaged. So I make my voice engaged. I speak with, you know, I speak with emotion. I speak with energy. I'll be in the booth sometimes, and I'll stand up and you know, and I'll talk with my hands, and I keep the energy up. Obviously, I never surpass the tone of the speaker. But if the speaker is energetic, I'm going to be energetic. If he's going to be monotone, unfortunately, I'll be monotone. But I'll always bring a certain level of energy in my. And the reason I say that as well is because I've won over some of my clients because of that. They would say, "Oh, the last interpreter we had, he was just like, you know, very serious and very, you know." I won't use any negative words, but very, very serious, you know. And I think that the market that I have here in Quebec, the French-speaking Quebecers, you know, not the French that we have is not the European French, it's not the Parisian French, it's very Quebecer. There's a certain tone to our language, and there's a certain energy to it. And I have had clients come up to me and tell me, "Listen, I prefer your interpreting than the other interpreters because they're much more human," if I could put it that way. So definitely it makes a difference, and I believe in that aspect.
True. Yeah, I do support you in this opinion as well. Also copy. And what about the pace? For example, if a speaker starts speaking too fast, will you also start speaking fast, or will you try to compress whatever he said?
Actually, I prefer a fast speaker over a slow speaker because my natural tendency is to speak very fast. And my personal technique is I prefer using the technique word for word when I'm interpreting, rather than reformulating and compressing. I find, you know, other interpreters will disagree with me, but for me personally, I find that cognitively, I find it more difficult to try to reformulate a phrase and a structure rather than just repeating word for word. Now, luckily for my language combination, English and French is very similar.
Right.
I even posted not too long ago, you'll see on my post, I posted a diagram that was posted by some linguist that was explaining the difference between English and Turkish, how it was very crossed over from the end of a phrase. But French and English is almost parallel. So I could use the technique word for word very well. So my décalage is very short. And when speakers speak very fast, usually I haven't found a speaker that speaks faster than me. So I'm able to catch up, fortunately. Unless the wording is very complex, I'll compress and I'll cut out words and try to maintain just the main idea. But usually, I'm able to keep the pace, usually.
Okay, good. So we have a couple of questions here. Let's talk about, if the speaker uses curse words, should the interpreter curse too?
Well, I have a hard time with that as well. Unfortunately, I have a tendency, my tendency is to tone down the cursing.
Yeah.
You know, I'll try to use less heavy curse words. Now, I know even that is a big discussion. I just can't find myself. I don't like swearing myself, but I understand that if the speaker is using that type of tone, I try to use a tone that's equal. And I have cursed if I have to, if I sense that it's really going in that direction. I mean, I have heard that certain speakers require their interpreters to curse if they curse. So, but I've never been in that position myself, and fortunately, I haven't had to be in that position very often. So I prefer not to curse. I guess that. So I guess I cheat a bit. I guess I cheat.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I do the same. In simultaneous, do you use both headsets? I mean, do you listen to yourself? Because I only use one. It's just out of curiosity. Yeah.
Oh, you mean two earphones? You mean like or one?
Yeah, yeah. So
okay,
do you, for example? Yeah, I think that's the question from the followers, but I think that's what is meant. Yeah.
I do have a tendency to put one up here, and I do listen to myself. So yes, I do listen to myself. But when I'm working RSI in the home, I use both because I find that there's too many distractions going around the house or outside, and I find sometimes it's already hard to understand on some platforms what's being said. So I really need to, you know,
the sound can be really bad.
So the headsets that I use at home are totally covered ears. I like to go totally covered. When I'm in the booth, I actually prefer the ones that just cover just a bit the ears. And I used to have this headset that was my own headset, which the ears were very small, and they go laterally in the ear like that. So I was able to very comfortable. They were very light, and the sound wasn't going directly in, but rather like this. So I didn't have any fear of acoustic shock or things like that. So depending where I am, it will depend what type of earmuffs that I use.
Some interpreters prefer taking their own headsets with them, actually. I
don't. Up to now, when I go to the booth, most of my agencies that hire me, I know the ear sets that they use, so I don't mind using what they use. Sometimes, if I do have mine with me, I'll bring them, but I don't worry about that too much.
Okay, just out of curiosity, you know, we many times have situations when, for example, the speaker is speaking on a scene or somewhere on a stage, and then participants start asking questions, but they don't use microphone, and you cannot hear, but they do hear themselves, and they say like, well, we can hear, why don't you interpret? So do you have such situations in your
it happens all the time during Q&A. Usually, I'll tell the sound technician. Usually, they're set up for that. They'll have a portable mic, and they go bring it to everybody. And sometimes, when the person starts talking before, I'll just say the interpreter doesn't understand what's being said.
Yeah.
Or I'll say, can somebody please give him a mic? Or I'll open the door to my booth. If I can hear correctly, I'll do it that way. If I cannot hear, with the door of the booth open, I'll just say it. I'm sorry, the interpreter doesn't understand what's being said. You know, I'll just do that. But it does happen. That happens quite often.
Yeah, it happens quite often in our case as well. Yeah, we get quite annoyed. So what else can be annoying to you? Like, what can make you frustrated?
Speakers who don't have a lapel mic, and that they speak out of their, out of the mic, that's very annoying. People who, obviously who speak very fast through a written text.
Yeah.
It's not the same interpreting for a written text as for just free language. Right? So I totally despise having to interpret for somebody who has, like, let's say they have the content of a half an hour speech compressed into 15 minutes, and they're just reading.
It's impossible.
That's the worst.
Yeah, they don't give you a speech in advance. Yeah.
Yeah, or another thing that I do not like is, at a lot of these conferences, they'll give a bio of the speaker, right? How come they never give us the bio? Everybody has the bio but the interpreter. We ask for materials 1 day, 2 day, 1 week in advance. We never get it. And then suddenly oh, there's a mile-long bio of this speaker in the front, and he has every acronym after his name that you can think of.
Yeah.
I hate that. That I really hate, because they have it and they don't give it to us. So that's a pet peeve I have.
Yeah, you know, it's the same here. I thought maybe the situation is better over there, but it's the same here. We keep asking for the materials, they don't give them to us. When we come to the events, we see the printed out materials that they distribute to the participants, but they never gave these materials to us. Yeah. They think it's
when I come,
to interpret everything.
Yeah, when I come into a conference, the first thing I look for is I go to the presentation table and I'm looking for every material that I can find. I'll even, don't tell anybody, I'll steal it off the tables from the participants, and I'll take it. I'll take two, one for myself and one for my booth partner.
Yeah,
or the USB chip, and I go see the technician. Did they get a new PowerPoint? You know, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Do you have some events where you're not allowed to take any gadgets and like mobile phones and
that has not happened yet. That has not happened to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But although, you know, example, when I'm interpreting consecutive, I wouldn't have time to use my phone for anything. So I guess technically I'm not even using anything when I'm doing consecutive. But in the booth, if I didn't have at least my iPhone, it would be difficult, because, you know, you're looking for terminology, you know, you're looking to help your booth mate with some words. So it's very useful to have the technology. But I've never had that. I have some colleagues of mine who have worked certain assignments where they're not allowed to bring anything in, and they're very difficult, top secret type of assignments. Yeah, but that hasn't happened.
We do have such assignments when we work with the governmental agencies. In many cases, you are not allowed to bring anything, with you. So that's hard. So actually, when you are allowed gadgets, do you manage to, for example, when you don't know the word, to quickly find it in, I don't know, any sort of dictionary or online dictionary?
Unfortunately for myself, I know other partners are able to do this, but I can't interpret, listen, and write at the same time.
At the same time,
so
type, yeah.
My typing skills do not work when I'm interpreting.
Right.
I know some interpreters are able to do that. You know, I can scribble. I'll scribble down a word quickly, you know, and if I'm lucky, I'll be able to read it afterwards. But most of the time I go like, what did I write down?
Yeah.
So I count on my partner. We talk together and we say, if there's a word that I missed, can you write it down? And we'll slip it, we'll slip it to each other. Here's the word, and help each other that way. When the interpreter or your partner is kind enough to do that.
Yeah, that's very important, to have a sort of reliable partner. Yeah, you can. Yeah. In some cases, you sort of understand from the, I don't know, from the face impression that your partner doesn't know some sort of word. You write it down quickly. You help. Yeah. Numbers. Yeah, that's good. We have a couple of questions from Glorious Mom. Do you relay interpreting? So do you do like relay?
Yes, I love doing relay. I don't like relaying off of somebody else, but I don't mind being the relay.
Yeah.
I've had good experience with relay, and because I speak fast. So my partners that relay off of me, they appreciate it because I give them a lot of content.
Yeah, that's very important.
There's other interpreters, like I have certain friends of mine that their décalage is so long. So imagine, the décalage is already long, you're relaying that, it gets even longer, right?
Yeah, so twice.
My booth partners love doing relay off of me because I give them a lot to go with. So that's an advantage.
So what other languages are demanded in Quebec?
French, English, obviously, Spanish.
Right, Spanish.
Yeah, but quite honestly, the other, I haven't heard of any other languages being used in the booth, really. Portuguese. Yes, we have a bit of that. Chinese. Yeah, that's true. Chinese, Mandarin, those some of those Oriental languages. Besides that, I haven't heard much other than that. Right.
So Russian language is not very popular.
I have never heard a Russian booth in Montreal. No.
Right.
Not myself.
Thank you.
I haven't personally.
Okay. Another question. What do you do in that case, in case they don't give the materials in advance? Okay.
I run after materials during the conference. I'll keep looking for materials. I'll ask them for a USB. You know, oftentimes the speaker will come to see the technician, give him his USB chip for his presentation, and right away, while my partner is interpreting, I go outside, I go to the technician, did we get a new PowerPoint? Give it to me on my USB chip. I bring it back in, we switch in the two computers. So I'll run after material as much as I can. Or even, you know, go to the website. If I don't get any material ahead of time, let's say a week prior or the day before.
So you only know
with different hits to find information on YouTube, the name of the speaker, anything else that this person has done. I'll try to find anything.
Yeah. Mike, you're speaking a little slower than usual, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's because I'm speaking, because I know the sound is very bad right now, I think.
Yeah.
I'm hearing an echo even in my own voice in the speaker, so I hope that everybody's getting, because I've lowered my sound on my phone, and I'm still getting like a feedback or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I also can hear it for some reason. Yeah, that's true. Well, I think I've exhausted my questions. Thank you very much. That was very informative. Yeah, I think because you know, one more question. What is the purpose of your, can we call it blog or whatever it is? You have an Instagram and maybe on other social media platforms. So is it for finding new clients, or you just want to share your experience, or what is the purpose?
Well, I started by using LinkedIn professionally to try to find clients. Quite honestly, I find it more to be a platform to network with other interpreters. I haven't received much work from it yet. I have a few. Maybe I could think of 3 or 4 of them, assignments that I've gained from the exposure that I have on LinkedIn. I've actually received more interesting work on Instagram than LinkedIn itself, actually, because of the networking with other interpreters. We find out what our pairs are, and just recently, about maybe a week or so ago, I was asked to do a French-English booth and an English-Portuguese booth, and they asked me if I knew anybody. Obviously, I recommended my hot sauce interpreters partners that I know have those same languages. So what is really great, if you're not already following hashtag hot sauce interpreters, I highly recommend everybody to follow that hashtag. You're not following a person, I really don't care. I can't even follow people anymore, because on IG I can only follow a maximum of, I think it's 7,500 people, and I've already maxed that out. So I'm already messaging people, I'm so sorry, I can't follow you. If you want to follow me, thank you very much. But if I can't follow you, I can still follow the hashtag. So if you put hashtag hot sauce interpreters in all of your posts that have to do with interpreting or translating or linguistics, I'll still be able to follow you. So please do use the hashtag hot sauce interpreters. And what I love about hot sauce interpreters, it's a community. It's like-minded, passionate people that just love interpreting to the bone. So we're very, it started off as a joke, right? Bam! Hashtag hot sauce interpreters. It was
what's your idea, actually? Was it you who invented it?
Actually, well, the name hot sauce interpreters came out with my partner Robin. Robin said we should call it, hot sauce, because he's from Panama, so he has that Latin thing going, hot pepper, hot sauce, hot sauce interpreters. So we started as a joke, calling ourselves, hey, hot sauce interpreters. And I added to that the bam. So all the time, I just go, bam, hashtag hot sauce interpreters. And that kind of became my trademark, but it kind of caught on because people started using it. People started using the hashtag. When you follow the hashtag now, I think there's over 4,000 posts, and most of them are all related to interpreting and a bit of translation. There's another hashtag that I recommend you follow if you like to read materials on interpreting or translation. Use the hashtag NT Book Referrals. One NT Book Referrals. So if you have a book, a cover of the book, a synopsis of the book that have do relating with translation and interpretation, please use the hashtag 1NT book referrals with an S plural. And you can go there. There's a lot of people that recommend a lot of great books that are just related to the language industry. So I just love the Hot Sauce Interpreters community. We're a bunch of friends together, and it's relaxed. We're having fun.
Mike, sorry for interrupting. I've got 20 seconds to save it. I will reconnect again in 1 minute. I'll reconnect just to have 10 minutes.
I have time. Take your time.
Okay, I'll reconnect, yeah.